Welcome to your Barbados Today evening news updates for Monday, October 5th. Barbados hits the 200 mark for COVID-19 cases as another member of a COVID-19 family cluster tests positive. The latest case is that of a 12-year-old boy of the Ellerslie school who is the great-great-nephew of the housekeeper who tested positive for the viral illness on September 30th after her employer returned from the United Kingdom and tested positive after a second test. 6 members of that family, including a 15-year-old girl who also attends Ellerslie School, have joined the housekeeper in isolation at Harrison Point, St. Lucie. Now, the child's positive result was the only positive among 221 tests done by the Bes dos Santos Public Health Laboratory yesterday. 11 people are now in isolation. Recoveries remain at 182 as no one was discharged today. Meantime, speaking to Barbados Today before the COVID-19 update, President of the Barbados Union of Teachers, PEDRO said they were monitoring the developments at Ellerslie School closely, even as he urged members to remain vigilant and not to panic.
At this stage, we are comfortable that both the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the Ministry of Education are doing what is necessary to handle the situation at Ellerslie. Of course, the Barbados Union of Teachers will monitor the situation over the next few days. We have been receiving calls from teachers on the possibility of persons at other schools likely to be part of the contact tracing, but we can only wait until the Ministry of Health and the COVID unit carry out the investigation and further contact tracing. So we are at this present, though, asking our members to be very vigilant, to ensure that students wear masks throughout the day. I'm also going to ask the members or teachers generally to observe students and masks, because we are noticing that some masks are looking a bit torn and tattered, as though children are reusing, particularly the disposable masks. And so we want to be extremely vigilant. We need to ensure, of course, that they continue to wash their hands, the social distance.
Students and parents today continued their protest against the CAPE and CSEC grades. This time around, the group staged the action from Independence Square, again demanding that the Caribbean Examinations Council review the results. CXC Chairman Suhail Beckles has announced that an independent review team is currently probing the matter and a report is expected on October 16. But spokesman for the group, Paula Ann Moore, is not at all satisfied with the date.
There are children that have lost their scholarships that they already received based on their predicted scores because of these current and not final, we stress, actual scores. There are children that wanted to start their academic and professional careers with the help of scholarships to further in our national development and in further of their and their families' personal development that have been devastated. The 16th of October is not good enough. And what are we getting on the 16th of October? How is a report helping these children right now? Right now, doesn't CXC understand that there's an entire class of children that have not started school because of this confusion? The term has already been truncated. The methodology has already changed because of COVID. We do not know what COVID is going to bring. CXC has yet to tell us what are their plans for the syllabi for the year ended 2021 so that the teachers can modify their teaching accordingly.
In other news, the recent integration of Ghanaian nurses into Barbados's public healthcare system has boosted its efficiency, so says Minister of Health and Wellness, Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic, who says one of those improvements would be the extended opening hours at the St. John Polyclinic. Speaking at the Barbados Labour Party's political meeting at the Glebe last night, Bostic said the 95 nurses are already working at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital and polyclinics across the island.
I'm also happy to report that within the next few weeks, now that we have brought 95 nurses from Ghana here who are now into this public health system working and at the QEH, that we are going to extend the hours of the polyclinic at St. John, that it will work from 8 in the morning to 8 at night, 7 days a week in the first instance, before we go the full 24 hours. And that we have already started talks with the Transport Board, and I thank the Minister who's responsible for that, my colleague and friend Ian Gunanegel, for facilitating those talks, because we are now trying, now that we have some more buses on, to be able to get some proper bus routes from St. George and St. Andrew and St. Joseph, so that people can access the service that is being offered at St. John. And that service at St. John is going to be a one-stop service when it is fully operational, meaning that you're going to be able to get your x-rays there, you can do dialysis there, it has an asthma bay, you will be able to get everything that is required at that polyclinic, that you don't have to go downtown.
Meantime, Minister Bostic revealed that steps were being taken to rename the Glebe Polyclinic.
And I took a proposal to Cabinet, which Cabinet accepted. The process was started several years ago when polyclinics were given or renamed, name after persons who had done well in health. There are a few polyclinics, like St. Philip, for example, like the Glebe, that has not been renamed. I am happy to announce tonight that Cabinet has agreed, and in very short order, that polyclinic at the Glebe will be called the Freddie Miller Polyclinic, in honor of Frederick Miller, who represented this constituency in the 1960s, who was a Minister of Health of this country, and who was responsible for the early years of the development of public health care services in Barbados. But where the polyclinics are concerned, that is one aspect of what we are trying to do, to improve the level of service at the polyclinics.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To developments in the Caribbean, the Bahamian Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis has been meeting with local officials of the Pan American Health Organization about rising COVID-19 cases in the country, especially in New Providence and Abaco. We get more in this report from Eyewitness News.
He says he met with the Pan American Health Local Organization representative, Dr. Esther de Gorville, and the government's representative, Dr. Merceline Del Regis, to come up with measures to help slow the spread on these two islands. Now, he expects further meetings with the business community, cabinet, and opposition before a determination will be made.
After these various meetings, I will brief the nation on the recommendations of our health experts, especially on the way forward for both New Providence and Abaco. During the meeting with Dr. de Gorville and Dr. Del Regis, it was stressed that success in addressing community spread depends on the public's behavior, our behavior, and adherence to COVID-19 preventative measures, that the workplace is a hot spot for COVID-19. Stay at home. I repeat, if you have no reason to be out, please stay at home.
The nation's leader also aware that accurate and timely testing plays a critical role in community spread and contact tracing. To this end, he says he's met with all laboratories to ensure they're on the same page.
And finally, in the United States, more new COVID-19 cases are being reported among White House staff. The press secretary became the latest high-profile figure close to the U.S. president to confirm a positive test on Monday. More from Reuters TV.
White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany revealed on Monday that she, too, had tested positive for the coronavirus. McEnany joins a growing list of prominent Republicans and White House officials who have been diagnosed with the disease in recent days. That list includes President Trump, the First Lady, Trump's campaign manager Bill Stepien, advisor Hope Hicks, RNC chairwoman Ronna McDaniel, former advisor Kellyanne Conway, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, and 3 Republican senators.
No, there are privacy concerns.
McEnany routinely refused to wear a mask when talking to reporters, even after the president himself got infected, like other high-ranking White House officials who also addressed the press in recent days without face coverings.
Why aren't you wearing a mask right now?
Yeah, so I've obviously been tested. We're hopefully more than 6 feet away.
I'm not wearing a mask right now because I'm talking to you and we're distancing. I tested negative this morning. I get tested every day.
On the mask issue, how come you're not wearing one? I was wearing one and I may have left it over there.
In fact, McEnany, who declined to quarantine despite the growing number of positive cases around her, briefed reporters outside the White House without a mask just one day before tweeting that she'd been infected. The press secretary has routinely echoed the culture of the White House that shuns mask usage, defending the president for not wearing one, and often referring to it as a personal choice.
Does President Trump choose not to wear a face mask? Does he think it sends the wrong message?
That's his choice. You know, he's tested each and every day.
On Monday, she tweeted she would now begin to quarantine.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.